Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode in the podcast of Unfit and Unharm. By the way, Unharm, you're an idiot.
Wait,
Anyway,
what?
um, anyway,
I thought we were
the
renaming
point
this to
is-
the Unharm and Unfit podcast.
No. You know I'm the dominant one. No. Anyway, welcome back, guys. Just having a little bit of fun at the start as always.
What sort of kink did you have? Anyway,
But the point is, today we have another episode for you, ready for you to essentially just, a new topic, new thing to talk about, and it's actually a pretty interesting one because it's came out pretty recent. I think it's last week or this week. I think it's
5
this week,
days
right?
ago.
I don't know. I don't really follow up everything, and technically, 5 days ago is technically last week. So, last week, we got the new Pokemon game, which is something that I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because the new Pokemon generation have pretty interesting things in it. Not because of the fact that it's just new generation. It actually is an interesting generation as an overall. Now, I kind of didn't really keep up with the big party for Pokemon because I don't really like the big hype sometimes that people make out of things. But I think it's a pretty interesting generation nevertheless, because there are some pretty interesting mechanics and things that are going on it that I kind of didn't really understand.
Oh,
Because
great.
it's
I'm here. I can tell
really
you.
interesting.
I've been doing nothing
Good.
but reading about this stuff, and I can teach not only Unfit here, but you guys too who don't really know or haven't really been keeping up about what's going on. Now, for us, we're recording this the Tuesday after this came out, so by the time this goes up, this will probably be a week or two after that. So there may be some things that will change, and you will understand what I'm saying and why I'm saying what I'm saying. But until then,
Or things that will be added, or things that will be realized in the game, everything of that nature, yeah.
yeah, but until then, what we're saying is what is up to date up to today. So we got, of course, our 3 cute starters. And let's start with, of course, the first starter, the grass Pokemon, Sprigatito. That's how you say it. So when we got revealed Sprigatito, everybody saw it as a cute Pokemon. And do you remember what everyone was begging Pokemon not to do?
Make it stand up 2 feet.
Make it stand on 2 feet. And you know what Pokemon did?
Make it stand on 2 feet.
It stands on 2 feet quite immediately. And let me tell you something. The final evolution of Sprigatito, not helping the horny people. In fact, it's only making the case worse. Because it's basically, I can see it being Rule 34, and I am not a fan of that.
Oh, that's fun.
You know what I wanted?
And by fun, I mean not fun.
You know what I wanted? I wanted it to be like a jungle cat. I thought if it was like a Puma-styled cat, you know what I mean? That would have been cool.
That could have been really, really cool. But unfortunately, it is not. It's a dark, or should I say grass dark type.
By the way, being a
which is
Puma,
standing on 2 legs.
being a Puma would have been fine with it being a dark type, because Pumas are night creatures, and they're very...
Yeah, no. I'm not saying about that. It's just pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, before we move on, I just want to mention this. Pokemon had a nerf to 2 abilities during this generation. And those abilities are Protean and Libero. They're basically the same ability. Now, Protean was the hidden ability of another very famous Pokemon, Greninja, which was a bit overpowered. Do you know what Protean does?
What?
It changes the type of the Pokemon every time it attacks to the attack type. So if a Pokemon, let's say
I see what it does.
So
basically, let's say you have I don't know, an ice move.
Yes.
You change into an ice move, and then it just does 1.5 damage.
That's not the only thing that it does. It also makes you an ice type. So let's say you're weak to electric type, right? Ice is not weak to electric types, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it made you immune. It was very commonly used. It saw a ban immediately. So how Pokemon...
So what nerf did they make?
So the nerf that they made is that it can only be activated once. I shouldn't say per game, but let's say you take out the Pokemon and it uses, let's say, I don't know, Earthquake, and it becomes a ground type, right? So if the next turn it uses, let's say, Water Shuriken,
Okay.
it does not regain back the previous ability, the previous typing. It's
okay.
But if you switch it out, then it resets the typing. So that's basically a heavy nerf. And in this generation, that because it's a ability saw a nerf, that's a huge nerf, by the way, it made the ability completely useless. It's actually right now just an okay ability. I don't see people really going after it anymore.
So it's basically better to go after Overgrowth for this one.
In this case,
anyway.
Maybe. I'm not sure. But I'll tell you why. Because the gimmick of this generation is terrestrializing or terrestrializing, which basically changes your typing already. So you can already change.
What does that even mean?
You don't even need to. I mean, don't get me wrong. Protean would still be a cool ability because you can change your typing twice, maybe with using. Protean and using terrestrialization or terror orbs. That's what they're called, terror orbs, but it's not as impactful as it used to be. And they decide to give the cool ability to, of course, Masquerada. Now, Masquerada is, of course, the final evolution of Sprigatito. And people are like, people who choose Sprigatito are just choosing it because that they like how it looks, but they know that there are better options. Now, the next Pokemon line that we're going to be talking about is, of course, Fuecoco's line, which is which final evolution is Skilderage. Now, is there anything you want to say about Fuecoco?
Fuecoco the crocodile?
Yes, the crocodile.
I just like him. I like him. He's looked like an apple crocodile, but not really. He's so cute.
He's so cute. And then he evolves into Crocolore, which basically looks like...
I kind of understand what kind of thing that they're going for with this one.
I agree with it. I think it looks good.
Like,
I think it looks really good.
Yeah. A Mexican crocodile kind of like theme. I think that what I'm getting from this, or
yeah,
maybe I'm getting it wrong.
You got it right. And the final evolution.
So what Unaware is?
So what Unaware does is, when attacking the Pokemon, ignores the target's Pokemon's stat change. What?
Huh.
When attacking, the Pokemon ignores the target's Pokemon's stat changes. Oh, so
let's say if they're kind of like raise their attack or something, or should I say, defense, it just doesn't care.
Yeah, so basically Skilderage is being used as a tank Pokemon that's able to sweep. It's a mixture of a tank and sweeper. It's really, really cool. Because it got like some cool moves. Basically, competitive-wise, I think Skilderage is one of the more interesting ones. Everyone is saying that it's got a really good typing. That it's fire and ghost. Okay. Because what other Pokemon has fire ghost typing? What? Chandelure.
Oh, Chandelure.
Chandelure, if I remember. Chandelure was like always used like as I think, was it a speedster? I know that Chandelure was competitively used. Chandelure, competitive.
I remember that.
Yeah, no, Chandelure is an SS Pokemon. It's very, very good. Here, right now I'm Smogon, and it's got it's being said that it's a very good Pokemon when it has Flash Fire. What makes it so good is it has a very high special attack. Now, Skilderage. This is a tankier Chandelure who is slower, which is very interesting.
Very interesting.
It's still a very like I've been seeing people online talking about how it's very very good, and a lot of people are just like opting for it, so that's cool. And
I think it's a cool Pokemon. I really like
yeah,
it.
it's my favorite of the starters, but I'm not going to be biased, and I'm going to say the truth. I think Quaquaval is probably going to end up being the strongest used in the long run. Quaquaval has a good typing. It has good stats. I think
Good stats for the cost.
yeah, that's Quaxly's final evolution. Quaquaval is just super cool. Has a lot of good things going for it. It's water fighting. You know what other Pokemon is water fighting? Hello?
Toad something. I forgot its name.
I'll give you a clue. It's Poly something.
Politoad. Or whatever his
Poliwrath.
name is.
Poliwrath.
Forgot the name. Poliwrath. The first gen
Yeah.
one guy thing.
So it's a physical attacker, obviously, and it gets good. It gets good coverage for a lot of good moves. It gets Aqua Step, super good. It gets Wing Attack, another good, another decent attacker. Aqua Jet, incredible. It gets access to Aqua Cutter. I did not know it gets that. It gets Aqua.
Also, what's Moxie?
It's an ability.
What does it do?
Moxie. I need to remember. I know that it's I know that it's Quaquaval's hidden ability.
I think they also made Jojo Duck. I mean Quagbile. Really, really good compared to the others because of one reason. Everybody kind of didn't really like its design at the start, so they kind of just made.
I did not know it gets that. So every time it knocks out a Pokemon, it gets an attack stat boost.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, Quaquaval is very good. Like, do not underestimate this Pokemon at all.
A lot of people underestimate him. Let's just say
I'm
that.
going to be honest. Now that we're at the at the start of Gen 9,
after the game,
and Gen 8 is over, I can still say that Rillaboom was my favorite starter. The grass was my favorite starter. However, Inteleon was the ace of Gen 8, without a doubt in my mind.
Fair enough.
Oh my god, it gets Wave Crash. Oh my god, Wave Crash is super duper cool.
Also, I have another question.
Yes.
The legendaries that you get as bikes, are there legendaries that you're going to kind of like be able to catch at the end using your team, or they're just
I haven't
bikes?
played the game. I haven't bought the game yet. I plan on buying it and maybe playing it, but
I mean, if they got stats, I
not
guess
now.
you are.
I
want to
have like a clean. Here's the thing: I don't think it's going to ruin for me the fact that I saw other people play the game, because I'm going to want to play the game my own way. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Also, this game has 400 Pokemon in the dex.
Yeah, that's actually decent. So let's move on from the starters to, of course.
And I have another question.
Yeah.
Every generation has its own decks, and you cannot like kind of catch them all anyway, or you can just combine from older games.
That's only a Gen 8 and onwards. I'll give you an explanation. There is a thing where you have a Pokemon account where you can come from different generations and put in the Pokemon from that generation into the Pokehome. That's what it's called.
Okay.
And you have access to it, I think, from every game that you officially have bought. But if a Pokemon is not in that generation, it won't show up from the Pokehome or something like that.
It's very weird, but okay.
But okay.
So okay, sure, whatever.
Let's move on to the next Pokemon, which is, of course, going to be the normal type king that everybody loves to simp over. Lechonk. I'm going to be honest with you, I hate Lechonk.
Lechonk, the piggy.
Not a fan of Lechonk. I think that it's the
Why people really like Lechonk? I don't get it.
Because he's fat.
Because he's
fat.
What?
Fat.
Okay, sure, but give me better reasons. Expound, please.
Why did people like Wooloo? Because it had a chunky look to it. It was a sheep.
What? Why would people like a chunky? Whatever.
People are weird.
Honestly, sometimes.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a fan of the Lechonk line, but I don't hate it. And it evolves into Oinklon, and Oinklon has two forms. It has a male,
the male and female, obviously.
Yeah. So let's talk about the troll Pokemon. Do you know which Pokemon is the troll Pokemon?
Okay.
Dunsparce. Now, why am I mentioning Dunsparce?
Oh god, Dunsparce. His evolution is so stupid.
The whole point behind Dunsparce, from the moment it was put in Gen 2, is the fact that it can't have an evolution. It was supposed to be like based on like some sort of myth of a dragon who cannot evolve or something. Not evolve, but like it's basically supposed to be like a troll story. And after so long, they decided to give it an evolution. And do you think the evolution looks any different from the original?
Nope.
No. It just looks like a Dunsparce that was given a second belly.
So weird.
It's
funny, but it's so weird.
I mean, I think that's troll in it of itself. Them giving Dunsparce an evolution, that's basically not an evolution. It's like they're saying, yeah.
Yeah, it's so stupid, but I love it.
They're like, yeah, so what? So what?
So what? We're supposed to give Dunsparce an evolution, but not really.
Okay, so we're gonna move on, and we're gonna talk about the next, I want to say 4 or 5 Pokemon very quickly, because I'm not a big fan, but you just have to talk about them. So we have a line here. We have the Tarantula and Spidops. Not a fan of this Pokemon. I think it looks very boring. I don't think it looks lazy. I just think it looks boring. You know what I mean? Because unlike other generations, that some of the Pokemon you can say are lazy designs, these are definitely not lazy designs, but
it just looks really safe.
Yeah, it looks safe, and I'm not a hater, but I'm not a fan. Like, it is what it is.
Why there's also so much bug Pokemon in this gen?
Because there are a lot of bugs.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
The biggest question. Why?
I don't know. So, next Pokemon. Are you ready? Next 2 Pokemon is Nimble and Lokix. Not a fan. Once again,
bug Pokemons.
It's not. There are a ton of bug Pokemon that I think look cool. Heracross. What's the name of that Pokemon?
No, I'm just saying in general, they're bug Pokemon.
I think Leavanny looks cool. I think there's a lot of cool looking bug Pokemon. These aren't them. At least not yet. Not to me. Maybe they'll grow on me and I'll like them a lot more later. I'm just not a fan. And of course, the last 2 bug Pokemon that we're going to go through is Roller and Rabasca. I think Rabasca looks cool, actually.
Rabasca looks really cool.
Yeah, Rabasca, it's Bug Psychic, which I think is a good typing. Orbeetle was also, I think, Bug Psychic, which is a fun combination. And it just looks like it's holding like some sort of psychic stone, but not really. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
I mean that Rabsca looks like it's just, you see how it's holding something? Yeah. I just think that looks cool. I think that's a cool look. Okay, maybe Rabsca is the only cool bug type Pokemon from this gen to me at the moment, but I'm not like the biggest fan of all of these. So next up, we're going to be talking about Graveyard and Houndstone. Now, have you heard anything about the Houndstone yet or not?
I know that it's the dog that is also may have a tombstone on his face.
Houndstone got insta-banned.
Really?
Yes.
Is it that strong? Why?
It has an attack that has a base of 50 for each Pokemon that's been knocked out.
Okay.
So you just come with like 4 Pokemon who are useless, let them die. This attack called is Last Respects. Now, what Last Respects does is it has a base of 50 for each power 50 for each Pokemon that was knocked out. Let's say you have 4 Pokemon who were knocked out. Its base power is 200.
Oh god.
Like, people, it's still not the worst Pokemon to get banned, but you can see why it got banned.
Yeah, I can understand very quickly why this guy got banned.
Insta-banned, not just banned, insta-banned. Yeah.
It's pretty insane, honestly.
Yeah, fun Pokemon. So the next 2 Pokemon, once again, I actually think they have cool designs, but I want to see them in the anime before like I give them a bit more of my personal opinion. And those 2 are Flittle and Esparthra.
It looks like a weird Egyptian ostrich, if I'm kind of just being like that. Kind of like mechanical Egyptian ostrich. Yeah. I don't know. That's how it looks to
me. So, of course, we have Flittle, which looks like a little belle wearing a dress. Is that right? It looks a little bit like that. It looks like a belle wearing a dress that's a chick. It looks like a chick that just happens to wear a dress.
A dress.
I think it's a cool look.
Some kind of dress.
And I think Espathra is a very cool looking Pokemon. I think this generation has a lot of cool looking Pokemon, and Espathra was one of them. The next Pokemon is definitely not one of them, which is, you can see it, Furry Giraffe.
Furry Giraffe is weird. It just looks like Giraffe ring that just decided to put his tail on his head for some reason, like a hoodie.
Like a hoodie. I'm not a fan of this Pokemon, but I'm not a hater. I think it looks fine, but like, it just looks boring, uninspiring. I think Giraffe ring looked cooler.
Oh, definitely.
Now, are we going to mention the Wiglet in the room or not?
Yes, that thing, which is also probably going to bring us to the next thing that I want to ask you about. Why the heck is there like Pokemon that looks like old ones? Like not old ones, like old Pokemon, but they're just like different ones.
So the theme behind the Generation 9 is, of course, the past and the future. We're going to be talking about this a lot, so I might as well just explain it quite a bit right now. So, the past and the future is, of course, a concept that's always been messed around with a lot. We have Pokemon who can travel through time, like Celebi, like Dialga, but this one has a little bit more to do with genetics and evolution. So they claim that Wiglet is basically evolution relative of Diglett, which is why it looks so much like Diglett, and it sounds just like,
but it's not.
And Wugtrio is, the same story, and that's
very weird.
And that's like the concept of the past. So many times, during this during this recording, while we talk about a lot of Pokemon that have a ancestor that seems similar, just know we're talking about things from the past, and we will be talking about future upgrades, like the other end of the spectrum, the other side of the shoe's horse, whatever you want to call it, which we're going to be seeing quite often. And the next Pokemon that we're going to be talking about is Dondozo. So Dondozo is basically looks like Whiscash.
Right.
He basically looks like Whiscash.
It does look like Whiscash, but he's not.
But not Whiscash. It looks like if Whiscash only had 2 colors and had a more serious look. That's pretty much it. Once again, don't love it, don't hate it. I'm okay with it. I think it's a fine design.
Okay.
And of course, the next Pokemon is Velusia.
Yep.
And Velusia basically looks like Arrokuda, except if Arrokuda had pink fins.
Pink skins.
Pink fins.
Yes.
And that's pretty much it. I have nothing to say about Velusia. It's not the first water psychic Pokemon. It's not even the most interesting looking water psychic Pokemon. Do you know what's the most
But is it good?
I haven't heard anything good about it. I heard that it's okay.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything good about it.
Fair enough.
Now, the next 2 Pokemon are, of course, going to be part of an evolution, but there is a little bit to talk about them. We have Benizan and we have Palafin. Now, imagine if someone from My Little Pony was tasked with designing a dolphin Pokemon. That's exactly what Finizen looks like. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's weird. So this one is so strange to me. I mean, I understand it, but it's also
It just looks like a dolphin, like a cartoon dolphin. It doesn't even look like an anime dolphin. It looks like a cartoon dolphin.
Just look like a normal dolphin. That's it. Just dolphin with eyes.
Now just like look at this is something that's going to take you a bit of time. So look at the both of Finizen and Palafin. What's the difference between them? Can you tell?
The symbol.
Yes, that's it. Now, Palafin has a second form. The first form that we saw is called the Zero form. Now, the Hero form looks actually cool. He looks like, you know that frog from the Starkist?
Star what?
You know the frog from the Starkist?
Oh, that tuna.
Yeah, okay. So it looks a bit like that.
Yeah, it does look like that. Huh. That's so weird. But yeah, it does. Yeah.
So it basically looks. Wait, I'm just looking at it again. Yeah, it basically looks like the Starkist tuna guy. That's pretty much what it looks like. So the next Pokemon that we're going to be talking about is, of course, the grass.
Is the olive.
Yes, the olive Pokemon, the Smoliv, Dolive, and Arbolive. Now, I think that. Did you get like the joke that they were doing with the names, or did you not get it?
Smoliv is just a small olive, right?
Yes.
Dolive is just
Doll olive.
What is that supposed to be? Oh.
And
Arbolivia.
And Arbolivia, yes. It's, you know, arbology, like herbology and leaves.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool.
I think that this is a fine way to name these Pokemon. Not mad. I think Arbolivia looks cool. I think Dolive looks cool. Smoliv is the only one I think that looks boring, but, you know, maybe it's because I've seen it too much. Maybe it's because I've seen it too much the past half a year.
But it's evolved at level 25, so you wouldn't need to see it all the time.
Yeah, you're right about that. So, I haven't heard anybody talk about Arbolivia competitive-wise. Oh, speaking of competitive-wise, something I forgot to mention that we can go back about Dunsparce. Dunsparce.
What about Dunsparce?
Dunsparce, because Dunsparce has an evolution now, but Dunsparce got banned. Now, you're asking yourself, really, right? Because it has an evolution now. It has access to I forget the name of that item. Eviolite. It has access to Eviolite, which makes it apparently really broken in like the lower tier competitive Pokemon, which is where it belongs, which is where it used to be. Now that it has access to Eviolite, it's broken. It's banned.
Okay. Pokemon competitively is very, very weird.
Yeah. So next up we have Capsakid. I think Capsakid is a cool looking Pokemon. I honestly really like it.
Which is supposed to evolve into a villain.
Yeah.
Basically.
Capsakid.
With 2 heads.
Capsakid is a grass fire typing, which I think is super duper cool. I think it might be unique.
Really?
Wait.
In what way?
Wait, okay, it's apparently it's apparently only grass type, and only Scovillain is grass fire type. So Scovillain is a unique type.
Yep.
Which is...
And it has to evolve with a fire state.
Yeah. I think it looks super cool. It's obviously a play on, you know, chili peppers. You got that, right? Did you get that or not?
Pretty interesting.
Because that... no. You know what the Scoville unit is? Scoville unit is how we put up you know, spicy. Like if it's how much is it on the Scoville unit? How many units of spicy does it have? So let's say so okay. It's, you know, a mixture of, you know, the Scoville unit and, you know, villain. So it's a very cool it's a very cool concept. So next up we of course have the electric duo. Tadbolt and Bellibolt.
Tadbolt and Bellibolt. Which I think are used by the gym leader that's kind of... A lot of people like her. The one with the pink and tail hair, I guess. That one?
The only one who I've heard people talk about is Nimona.
The VTuber one, right?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't remember
Whatever.
everything. I think it's cute. I think it's cute and well used, and I think it's fine. I think they're both, they both look like Pokemon.
That's kind of cool.
And next up we have after these two is basically what people say when they want to go fast. Vroom!
Oh god, this Pokemon
Vroom!
is
And
hilarious looking.
Vroom. No, it's Varoom and Reverum, yes. We're going to have to...
This is hilarious. This is Pokemon.
I think its typing is cool. Poison and Steel, because that poison...
And Steel?
Because Steel is immune to poison, which is always like...
Yep, it's a pretty interesting one that I never really expect them to do, but then again, they're doing really, really weird things.
I like it. I think this generation has better designed Pokemon than even Gen 8. And we have next Earthworm. That's pretty much how it's... That's pretty much what it is. It's called Earthworm, and it is a Steel type.
Okay.
Like it...
Although we'd expect Earthworm to be also a ground type, but sure.
I think it's because this is exclusive in Violet. I think that's why. I think they're putting a lot of like Steel type Pokemon in Violet, which is a good thing. Now the next two Pokemon we are going to talk about. These are the rat Pokemon.
Tendamouse and Mousehold.
Tendamouse and Mousehold. So why do you think Mousehold is going to see a ban? We talked about this a little bit before, but I didn't tell you why. Do you know why Mousehold is so broken?
Why?
Okay, you remember that there's an attack called like Double Slap, where you basically you smack someone twice, 2 to 4 times.
Okay.
Yeah, Mousehold has that attack.
Sure.
Yeah, and it gives up to like 5%. So Mousehold has that attack, but for like double, and it doesn't do 2 to 4 times. It does 8 to 10 times.
Why?
Oh no! And that's not worse. It also has access to the ability Tactician.
Oh goody! Oh my god!
So every time you hit, then it gets even stronger. And this attack is called Population Bomb.
That sounds dumb. I don't know why they chose to do that, but that's
so it's Population Bomb that has access for that has power for 20, has Tactician, and it gets to the point where you're hitting someone 10 times for 20 for base 20. Now it's affected by what's it called? By Rocky Helmet, which means that every single time you hit him, you get some damage back. But there are videos of people taking a same level, not Tendamouse, Mousehold to like legendaries like Miraidon, Koraidon, and Eternatus and stuff like that, where they're basically like not one-shotting, but like one-turning them. Like at one turn, you do 10 times 20, you're knocking them out with Tactician. It's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
This is like just as insane to me as as Houndstone. Like this is gonna see a ban for sure. If not a ban, then a nerf. It's gonna go from, let's say,
For sure.
8 to 10 times to maybe 4 to 6 times, which I think is still stupid, because you can basically one shot anything that's that can be damaged normally by normal types.
So stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid. So the next two Pokemon that we're going to be talking about, the next line is, of course, the Cetitan line, and with Citadel, which basically looks so boring. At first I thought it looked cool, but the more I look at it, I'm like, it's a
little bit boring.
It's not lazy. Just to be clear, it's not lazy. Not a lazy design.
Nope.
It's just not inspiring. And it's not inspiring like the next line that we're going to be talking about, which actually I think is super inspiring and super cool, which is the Baxcalibur line. And I think it looks amazing. I think that for what it looks like, it basically looks like if they took the Tyranitar line, made it dragon, and made it look, icy cool.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's
like
really cool.
Frigilebax looks very, fragile. Looks very cute.
Fragile.
Yeah, that's the point of it. Then you have
I know, but it's
Arctibax,
hilarious.
which just Arctibax just looks boring, I'll admit it. Doesn't look good, doesn't look bad, it just looks okay. And then you have Baxcalibur, which looks incredible. I think
which is evolved at level 54, which is super
hard, but it's also super strong. It looks like a dinosaur. It looks like a cool version of Tyranitar. And when I say cool, I mean the pun as well.
Oh, really? You mean the pun? No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, but it has a good coverage because Dragon Ice means it's dragon type that isn't weak to ice, which is cool. Because what a lot of people used to do is basically run at least one ice punch on their team to take care of dragon types. Can't do that now, you know. I think it's I think if they took what's his name Komao from Gen 7 and they just and they made him look cool, like he looks like a mixture of Komao without looking like a dragon, like a Chinese dragon, and they basically made him look cool because I don't think he looks too much like a dragon, but I can see it being a dragon, you know what I mean? Like there are some Pokemon who are called dragons but they don't look like dragons at all,
like dragons. Yeah.
But this one does. So next up, we're going to be talking about another troll Pokemon, Tatsugiri.
Tatsugiri.
Yes, Onigiri, but Tatsu, which is a tornado, and it basically has three forms. It has a curly form, droopy form, and stretchy form. And it doesn't look big. I think it's small. Let's see how big is it. It is. It's okay. It's 1 foot tall. It's okay. It's not tiny, but it's not. No, big. It's small. It's pretty small, but it's not Tynamo level. I thought it was going to be Tynamo level small.
No, it's not that level, but it's still pretty small.
And next up, we have, of course, the main Pokemon that everyone's talking about, Cyclizer.
So,
Cyclizer is a relative of both Koraidon and Miraidon. And Cyclizer is like the present form of these two Pokemon.
What do you mean? It's just their little form, technically?
No, it's not their little form. The Cyclizer is related to both of them.
Because there is past and present in this. Right, I forgot about that.
Past, present, and future, and this is the present form of the legendaries on the boxes, which I think they both look super cool, except Miraidon looks cooler. Let's be honest, everybody wanted to play with Miraidon over Koraidon.
Yep, but there's also another reason why people really like
Miraidon?
Scarlet more.
I don't see... Yes, those damn horny kids. I'm going to be honest with you. You should give up on that. Should give up on that chip because that Nimona is basically like everybody's now focusing on Nimona. Do you know who Nimona is?
Right. Yeah, the rival, right?
She's not only the rival; she's also the champion.
Oh, really?
She's like
trying to be.
She's like sort of the rival. In one version of the game, she is the champion.
She becomes the champion? Really?
Yeah, Nimona is a champion ranked Pokemon trainer and serves as a reliable guide. Now, everybody is making jokes about her because in the game they made her basically a yandere.
Kind of, yes.
When I say kind of, I mean she's totally a yandere. How can you not see that?
I mean, she is a yandere.
Yeah.
But she's fun.
I don't know. I haven't played it yet. I haven't bought the game yet.
Like, from what I've seen, she's fun.
Well, personal tastes.
I mean, she's a yandere, but, like, it doesn't feel like a yandere that's, like, really just a yandere that's trying to kill everyone. It's just a fun one. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. You need to play the games, probably. From footage that I've seen, I haven't really played the games or anything, so I don't really know how to tell you exactly.
She's an obsessive girlfriend. That's what she is. She's an obsessive girlfriend.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, moving on, we have a 3-line. We have Pawmi, Pawmo, and Pawmot. And do you know what's the difference between Pawmi and Pawmo? I swear to God.
Nope.
They look the exact same, except one gets up. Pawmi is lying down, Pawmo gets up. Literally it. And
Okay.
there are people who are like making videos online about how Palmy, when he evolves, he looks like he basically got up. That's it.
Oh my
Like,
god. It just also supposed to be, I think, the Pikachu of the generation, right?
I'm not sure. Maybe. Like, there's so much. There's so much like not fun stuff going on with like the stuff that they recycle from generation to generation. You know, like I want to say the Pokemon tropes because a Pokemon has its own tropes within the Pokemon gens, if you know what I mean. I'm not sure which one is like the Pikachu clone. It might be this, but like I'm not inspired by this at all. I don't hate it, but I don't like it.
Okay.
Like if someone said, "Yo, Palmy, or Palmo is my favorite Pokemon," I'd be like, "Okay, cool, sick," you know.
Cool. Good for you.
So Palmot, on the other hand, you know what? Palmot looks okay. Palmot looks cool compared to the other two.
Fair
Like,
enough.
I'm not saying I'm in love with it, but like, you know, the Pokemon that I am in love with from this generation is the next line, which is the Kilowatt.
The bird.
Okay, look at it and tell me it doesn't look cool.
I don't know. You love birds, apparently, in this gen.
Not necessarily. I like designs that are inspiring, and I like and I like when they do stuff like this. Like I loved Fletchinder. I love like the Fletchinder line and the final evolution. You know, and I think that this is like basically a copy version of like that idea, which I am a fan of. You know, because that it looks yellow and blue, which I think is a cool scheme. Has a cool look to it when it evolves from Waterol, and you know, it just looks like a Pokemon that I'd love to fight with. That's all. I think it's.
You don't need to defend yourself. It's fine.
It's also got an insane typing, Flying Electric. I think Zapdos.
It's pretty
Zapdos
cool.
is, I think, the only one who shares the same.
It's basically a Zapdos.
It's basically a Zapdos, but I like it. And then we have the other bird Pokemon, which I'm going to say not a fan. Don't hate them either. I think they're cool, but like I'm not like a huge fan of them. Which is Bombirder,
Bombrider,
yes,
and Squawkabilly, and why there are so many birds?
This is literally just a flamingo without the N. They took
yes.
They took the N word out of flamingo.
Huh.
So the next Pokemon is Cloth. Cloth basically looks like if they took what's his name from Kingler and they made his claws, you know, same shaped, same shape, and
it looks like an evolution of it, but not really.
Once again, I actually don't like this Pokemon at all.
Well, I don't think it's Kingsler evolution. It feels more of like a Corphish evolution.
Maybe.
A different line of Corphish.
Maybe, but I'm not a huge fan. Nacli basically... What is Nacli? Oh, this is a Geodude line. Oh, this is cool. Oh, this is sick.
What?
Look at the next line. This is Nacli, Knucklestack, and Garganacl. It basically looks like a rock.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But
it's a rock.
But I'm a fan. I think it looks it's not like the Geodude line that basically also looks like it looks like a rock, but like a different type of rock than Geodude.
A different kind of rock.
Yeah. Next up, we have two Pokemon, which I thought that one of them was water type, but it's not.
None of them are. The two lines next ones are actually only like both of them are poison. Apparently.
Yeah. I thought that Glimmet and Glimmora, I thought that Glimmora was water because it's blue, you know? But it's not.
Also, I'm pretty sure one of each of these, one of each of these lines go to Scarlet, the other one to Violet, and then same goes with the two dogs afterwards. Yeah. Kind of pretty obvious with these.
Yeah. So the next Pokemon, I actually think that the baby of the next Pokemon, you know, the baby version, is so cute that I'd rather keep it in that. And that's Shroodle. Look at Shroodle.
Shroodle's pretty cute.
I can't say he's my favorite, but I definitely love his design. I think I would keep Shroodle from evolving.
Yeah, I don't really like his monkey form, or whatever it's supposed to be. I don't really like it.
I don't hate it.
I like the little bug, yeah. I don't hate it, but I just don't like it so
Yeah,
much.
so the next two Pokemon that we're going to be talking about is
Are the dogs?
yeah. So we're going to start with the first one, and this is a fairy line. This is Fido and Dashbun. Now this is obviously a play on the Dash Hound, and Fido is I don't remember, but there's a joke there. I just don't remember all of them. But Dashbun is a Dash Hound, obviously. It looks super okay. I love it, but not that much, you know.
Yeah.
Now the other line I think is cuter. I think the next line is cuter, which is the Mastiff and the Mabostiff, which is of course.
I mean, Mabostiff looks so sad.
I love Mabostiff.
I love him so much.
So you know
he looks so sad.
So you know what that's a play on, right?
What?
Like boss and Mastiff. It's a boss Mastiff. They basically took Mastiff and put a boss in the middle, which I think is fine. You know,
pretty cool.
It's not a cool Pokemon. It's just a Pokemon that you want to hug.
Yeah, poor Pokemon. He just looks so cute.
Yeah. So next up, we're going to be talking about the Bramblin line, which
Gramblin?
yeah, Bramblin.
Sounds like a gremlin.
It is Grass and Ghost, which is I don't know if it was a.
Oh, that's the thing. Forgot the name for that thing. Like all the thorns and all that stuff. I forgot the name of what is that called.
Ferrothorn?
As a.
Don't you think about?
No. What's the English term for that is?
Oh,
It's not look like a tumbleweed. It's something else.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It basically looks like, you know, one of those plants that have thorns in them. You know. It basically looks like a mixture of a tumbleweed, except if the tumbleweed wasn't full in, but it was all thorny.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool Pokemon. Good design after all. Now the next two, yep. I don't. Okay, I you know what? The more I look at it, the more I think they actually look cool. And that is the Gimme Ghoul Pokemon. Gimme Ghoul.
And the Goldengu, which I think it's evolution, right?
Yeah. So one of them is a chest Pokemon, and the other one is like a roaming free Pokemon. And Gimme Ghoul, I think Gimme Ghoul looks cool both forms. And Goldingo, I think, looks really cool. Like, the more I look at Goldingo, the more I think, like, it doesn't look like a Pokemon, but then...
They're pretty cool.
Yeah,
looking.
There's a lot of cool ones. And now we're going to be getting in... This is the end segment of all the new Pokemon that are unique to the new generation, and you'll understand what I mean. Because next up, we will be talking about all of the past forms of a lot of very famous Pokemon that we've been very familiar with in the past 20 plus years. That Pokemon, 26 years.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
So the first one that we are going to be talking about is, of course, going to be the Dunfan past form, which is a Great Tusk. It is a ground fighting Pokemon. And it basically...
Yeah, those are the Scarlet's
Scarlet's exclusive, and it looks sweet. I think it looks great.
It's kind of weird that it's not a Donphan evolution, but
no,
sure.
I think they're going for like a gimmick, and I'm willing to give it a try because it's new.
Sure.
And this is a Great Tusk, and
it says
because it has a great tusk.
Yeah.
And the next one, there isn't much to say about them. There really isn't.
Nope.
I recommend every single one of you to just look them up whenever you can. So the next one that we will be mentioning is going to be the Among Us. The Among Us past form, which is called Brute Bonnet.
Among Us. Brute Bonnet.
Yes, it basically looks like a Among Us that has like a bit of Mexican Spanish, hat. Sombrero, that's what it's called. A sombrero with like leaves dripping from it. It looks super sweet.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So there's going to be an ancient Suicune that we do not see yet, but it will be coming. It will be coming. We just don't know what it looks like.
Then we also have Sandy Shocks, which is supposed to be the evolution of
No, not the
Minotone.
evolution. The relative.
Not evolution, the ancient relative, whatever.
It's a little bit confusing.
Is there supposed to be one for Magnezone?
I
or
don't
not?
think so. I haven't seen it.
Mm.
So next up that we have is going to be, of course, Tail, which is basically Jigglypuff.
Screamtail.
This is Jigglypuff's ancient relative.
Because he likes to scream a lot.
Yeah. There's nothing.
Yeah.
I actually prefer Jigglypuff to Screamtail, but you know, to each their own. If people like it, I can see it, but I prefer Jigglypuff.
I get it.
So next up we have Fluttermane, which is of course an ancient relative of. Can you guess?
Mischievous or
Misdreavious. Yeah, Misdreavious. Yeah. So.
God, I hate to pronouncing some of these names.
So basically, Fluttermane, I heard, is going to. People are saying that if it's not going to be banned, it's going to be meta because they say that Fluttermane is broken.
Huh.
Now, I haven't messed around on with the new Pokemon yet, so I don't know. But if it comes out to be broken, we will let you know.
Yep.
So the next one that we have is going to be the Volcarona ancient relative, and that is Slitherwing. Now, Slitherwing is basically...
And from what I've seen, also Volcarona and Donphan have two ancient relatives, which is pretty interesting.
Yes. It's interesting, but right now, we're going to tell you folks about Slitherwing. Now, Slitherwing name is basically Slytherin, but it's not a snake.
Yeah, it's Slytherin.
It's Slitherwing, and it basically looks like if it took both of its wings and was, holding them together on its back. That's basically what it looks like. And it is bug fighting. I fail to see how it's fighting, but you know what? You get to see it in action when the anime comes out.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then we have, of course, Roaring Moon. Now, people are using Roaring Moon at the moment competitively online because at Roaring Moon they say is broken. They say it's basically if they took what's his name, Salamence. It's Salamance's.
Salamence.
Yeah, this is Salamance's ancient relative, and they say it's
really?
broken. Yeah,
it just looked like it.
Right, it looked like Decidueye for a minute there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Salamance's ancient relative. And after I say it, you see it, but it's like, you're like, but is it really? But it is. And this will be...
Virizion also supposed to get another one, which is the DLC one. But yeah, if you have anything...
Once we get him.
You have anything else to say about Roaring Moon?
Nope. They just say it's good. Okay. So right now we are going to be talking about the final Pokemon, which is going to be the future versions of a lot of the Pokemon. So these are future relatives. You know how you have like this...
What they're going to be looking like in the future. Basically.
Yeah. It's like being told this is going to be your cousin in the future.
So we have Iron Threads.
Iron Treads. And this is...
Everything here is iron in the future.
Yes, because you know how cell phones got compact and smaller and they use a lot of machinery?
Yeah.
So it's, it's in that realm. It's in the realm of, tech being the future. So Iron Treads, which is of course Donphan's future form, or is ground steel, and you know what other Pokemon is ground steel type?
I forgot.
I'll give you a clue. Onyx.
Oh, Steelix.
Steelix is super strong. It's very good.
I think there's other ones that are also iron, that are steel and ground, but yeah, that's the main.
Yeah, Aggron, Lyron, and all of those.
Yeah, they're also pretty cool.
We don't know. I haven't looked up the moveset of Iron Treads. I heard that it's being tested online at the moment. I think Wolfie VGC said that he's testing with Iron Treads. I'm not sure. Might have heard it wrong. I don't remember where I heard it, but I remember hearing something like that in passing. So we'll see. And of course...
Oh, and also looks like every one of the older relatives have Protosynthesis, and the newer ones have quark drive.
Yeah.
Okay, as abilities.
Yeah, like I said, it's like a tech. You know, like tech is the future. You know, that's like the theme. So of course the next one.
Then we have.
Yeah, go on.
Is Iron Moth.
Iron Moth. Yeah. So Iron Moth is of course going to be the future relative of a Pokemon that we talked about before, which is Volcarona. Now, what makes Iron Moth look cool is that the wings look like they're
fire poison.
Yeah, fire poison. You know what other Pokemon is fire poison? Salazzle. So we're going to see a lot of people comparing these two. And I think the Iron Moth might be slightly better, but who knows? Because that you cannot count out Salazzle.
Female lizard thing, right? That's her.
So the one after the
again, one of those Pokemon that if they don't have their other gender is basically
their other gender is basically useless. Yeah. So the next one that we have is of course going to be Hariyama's future relative, and his name is Iron Hands.
Iron Hands.
He basically looks like a smaller Hariyama, but his hands look like they're floating. I think that's a cool design. I definitely want to see it in action.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool, and it's also just fighting electric, which is also pretty interesting.
Fighting electric might be unique. I'm not sure. You know what? It might not be unique.
I think it's not unique, but I think there's not a whole lot. Regardless,
if it's not unique, then it's definitely like in the scarcer side of unique typings. You know, like if I had to guess, there's maybe one or two other Pokemon who are fighting electric. But it's still a super cool combo. So, of course, the next one that we have is going to be Iron Juggles. Or Jugglis. Iron Jugglis, which is... You can recognize what Pokemon that is, right?
Yeah. Which I don't really like that they changed it from a dark dragon into a dark flying, but okay. Sure.
Yeah, it's Hydreigon. It's the future relative of Hydreigon, which looks cool.
Doesn't really feel that good.
I honestly prefer Hydreigon, but you know.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as cool as Roaring Moon, let's be honest.
No, it does not. And of course, the next one that we have is going to be the future relative of Tyranitar. And
which that one is pretty cool. Iron Thorns.
Iron Thorn. I think I want to test him out. He looks super cool. He looks super duper cool.
Strong.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Iron Bundle is the next one that we're going to be talking about. You should look at Iron Bundle's shiny form. Just look up Iron Bundle's shiny form. I think Iron Bundle's shiny form looks super sick.
But you're saying it looks pretty cool.
It looks super dope. The shiny form of Iron Bundle. Trust.
3,
Trust.
2, 1. Give me the shiny. Oh wow, it looks like metal. Yeah. That's actually pretty cool.
Right? It looks super sick. It looks like a robot, but like I love it. I'd catch it just to have it. Like, and unironically, I would shiny hunt for Iron Bundle. They say that he's pretty common, so whatever. But I love it.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So the next one that we have is Iron Valiant, which is the future form of 2 Pokemon. You know what 2 Pokemon those are?
Gardevoir and Gallade. It's basically a combined version. It looks like a combination.
It looks more like
it has the dress of Gardevoir.
It looks more like Gallade to me.
But it looks. Yeah, but it looks like Gallade more, but it has some kind of like features from Gardevoir.
And did you see the typing?
Fighting Fairy, basically taking both of their types that are not psychic. Yeah, which is pretty.
I thought that was pretty cool. So next up we have Teamndl.
Teamndl, Qingfu, Wu Chen, and Qingyu. Which I think are supposed to be connected, kind of.
Yeah,
really.
I think...
Actually, they are. They're all dark something.
Dark ground, dark ice, and dark grass. So Teamndl, I think this is a new Pokemon, because I can't think of any other Pokemon that reminds me of it, you know, is dark ground. Basically looks like... Is that a moose with, like, a bowl on the top.
Oh.
He basically looks like a brown moose with like a green gray.
I think it has some kind of
a grayish greenish
cultural reference.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I'm uncultured.
I think it's like maybe Chinese or Japanese cultural references that are maybe supposed to even represent the Four Seasons.
I don't know either. Next up, we have Chain Pow.
We're not trying to be culturally insensitive. We just don't know.
I mean, no, I was kidding. No, next we have Chain Pow. I think Chain Pow looks super sick. It looks like its body looks like a leopard, but like its head looks like a tornadus. You know, and it looks like it's holding like some sort of eel in its mouth.
Huh.
I don't know. It looks like it's holding like some sort of like rope, green rope in its mouth.
Yeah.
Dark eyes.
But I think it's supposed to be its stash. But
Maybe
I'm
you're
not sure.
right. Maybe you're right. I think it looks sick.
Then we have Wu Chen, which is just a snail.
Yeah, it's
made of grass. That's what I feel it looks like.
And last but not least, we have Chiyu,
which looks like a firefish.
It looks a bit like a firefish, yeah.
Pretty cool, but still looks like a firefish.
And we're almost towards the end of it. We have next up Koraidon, the legendaries Koraidon and Miraidon, which I think look sick. I think both of them look sick. If Miraidon didn't look as cool as it did, I would have loved Koraidon. You know?
Miraidon is just better looking, let's be honest.
Oh, Miraidon, yes. I thought you said Koraidon for a second. I was like, wait, what?
No.
And we are towards the end of this, and we will talk soon about how we feel about a lot of the stuff. And we have next up the Tink-a-ton line, which starts with Tink-a-Tink, Tink-a-Stuff, Tink-a-Tough,
and Tink-a-ton.
Tink-a-ton looks sick. You know what? I like it. This is an S-tier lineup design-wise.
I think it looks really cool. I think the design of this one's pretty cool.
This is like, there's so much fun designs in this generation. I'm going to flat out say it. Mm-hmm. Now, the next design, I think, is a little bit lazy, but you know what? I mess with it. And that is Charcadet, Armor
and
Rouge.
then we have the two evolutions that it
Armor
has.
Rouge and Cerulege.
I think Cerulege looks so much better than
Really?
Armor Rouge.
I actually think the opposite. I think they both look good. I
don't know.
I can see myself enjoying both of them.
Yeah.
Now,
but
towards the end,
yeah,
it's all pretty much going to be familiar Pokemon that we basically have seen before. We're getting Tentacool is getting a new relative, which is going to be the Toadscool and Toadscruel,
which are grass ground.
Which are grass ground, which I think is fine. I think they gave it a bit of a design that looks a little bit cleaner, but you know, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have a evolution for a old Pokemon from Gen 4, I think, which is the Pawniard Bisharp line.
5.
Gen 5? Okay.
It's a 5.
King Gambit.
Yeah.
This is obvious a play on, chess.
The King's Gambit. Yeah.
So, King Gambit looks sick. I think this is like the right way to design a third evolution for that line. Looks super cool. Next, we have Wooper's cousin, Wooper, but from Paldea.
These are one of the only ones from Paldea that are actually have
Paldea form.
What is it called? Yeah, Paldea
regional
forms. It's
form.
one of the only two, technically.
Regional
forms. That's so weird that this generation have only 2 original forms.
Yeah, so we have Wooper Paldea, which Wooper is Wooper.
But I guess they focused on the future and
past a lot
past
more
variations, so that's kind of So that makes sense.
Wooper does not evolve into Quagsire in Paldea.
It's evolved into Clodsire.
It evolves into Clodsire.
It's a poison ground.
Which is poison ground. I think I prefer Quagsire more, but I don't hate this. I don't hate this at all.
And I do think that this evolution is kind of has more utility as poison ground, but that's beside the point.
I think as a typing, poison ground might be slightly better, but poison ground. But you know what? we're going to let the professionals waste their time finding out if it's good or not. I have work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. So before we... No. I want to save this one for last. I want to talk...
Okay,
So
sure.
next up we have the Taurus... Is this regional forms? I think it is.
It's regional
Right.
forms.
So Taurus Paldea has 3 regional forms. It has the first regional form, which is just Taurus Paldea, which is only fighting, which I think is super sick that Taurus is getting a little bit of love, because Taurus Paldea has a second form, which is fighting fire, and a third form, which is fighting water.
I honestly think they should have completed the trio and gave us fighting grass, but that's beside the point.
So the final Pokemon that we are, of course, going to be talking about is going to be a Pokemon that I think was well overdue for over 20 years, and that is Primeape's Final Evolution. Do you know what Primeape's Final Evolution is called? Annihilate. It looks sick. It looks so good.
It looks angry all the time, by the way.
Yes. Let's look at its typing. You know what its typing is? Fighting Ghost.
Yeah.
You know what other Pokemon has Fighting Ghost? Marshadow.
Marshadow,
Generation, I think 7, I want to say. It's like one of those... Marshadow is a mythical Pokemon. It was supposed to be a unique typing. Marshadow is Generation 7.
Marshadow. It's Generation 7.
It was shown, it was revealed...
Oh, I know who that is.
It was revealed in Gen 6, I think, but it was like, it's technically a Gen 7 or something like that. No, like one of those. Marshadow is super cool, but now Annihilate is just so ridiculously awesome.
Also, I found out that the Taurus versions, you have Palladian Taurus Fire is only in Scarlet, and Palladian Taurus Water is only in Violet.
Yeah, it feels right because of the color scheme, because that one is going to be more red oriented and one's going to be more like purple bluish oriented. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that, of course, is going to be the last of all of the new Pokemon. I think we went over all of them. Did anything stand out to you?
I mean, this generation is a lot better in design than some of the older ones.
I'm going to say this flat out. This generation might, at the moment, I like this generation better than Gen 4, 5, 6, and 8. I think it's in the same level for me as Gen 7, because Gen 7 is like... Gen 1, Gen 7 are my favorite generation so far, and I might be... I might be throwing in Gen 9 into the mix, because I think it was just that well designed. I think everything about it is super cool. I mean, except for the Palafin. My god. Other than Palafin, nothing looks lazy to me. Like, Palafin is the only Pokemon that looks like a lazy design to me. And the rest of them don't look lazy. Some of them, will make sense within context. But a lot of them just look right. And I think that's, like, a huge thing that I love that they do with these generations. So what about you? Is there any Pokemon that stood out to you, I mean?
For me, Annihilate is actually pretty cool. Like, there are some pretty interesting lines that are pretty like Pokemons that like a lot of people like their favorites, and they kind of just didn't really get love, and they finally getting love. Like even Wooper, kind of just a Pokemon that people really like and is actually getting a little bit of love, even though it's not the final evolution. It's still a different thing. B-Sharp, I know it's a little bit of a beloved Pokemon. I know that there are some kind of particular Pokemon that just kind of got love for this particular thing. I do think that the new kind of mechanic of like ancestral things is pretty interesting.
We have to see what happens with that. We just have to see.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it, but yeah. I would say also this, that I understand people who don't like some of the starters' designs and choices, but I'm going to say this. Just because a Pokemon stands on 2 feet doesn't mean that it's actually bad design. I do think that Meowscarada is just not the best design, but I do like Quagbile because it just reminds me of a JoJo character. Quavel. It just reminds me of a JoJo character. But I do kind of like get the idea that some of these are just ones that people don't like, and they just like to associate Pokemon with animals. But these are mystical beings. It makes sense that some of these looks a little bit more
they're not
human.
mystical, they're just fictional.
Yeah. And who cares? They're different designers. They're trying new things. I think that's pretty cool.
I think other than Palafin, I think this is like, if I had to give this generation a score from 1 to 100, this gets like a 98. Like, it's super high for me.
Really? You don't like Palafin? Palafin is which one?
Palafin is the dolphin.
Remind me?
The dolphin.
Oh, the first one. The first of the dolphins. The second evolution of the dolphin.
The zero form. I'm not a fan.
It should have looked a little bit different. It should have looked a little bit different.
Like, I'm sure...
It just feel...
I think this generation is going to pop off in the anime. I think the anime is going to be able to do a lot of fun stuff with all of these Pokemon.
I wonder what you were going to do with the anime.
I have my own theories. I think that something cool that they can do is that Ash is, they're going to finally let him turn 11,
Yeah.
And
it's about time.
And they're going to let him, be sort of the mentor of someone else. Like what they did this generation in the anime with Go, is that Ash was Go's partner to a degree, but it's like Go didn't really learn much from Ash. He really didn't.
Yeah.
Like, what Go basically did was, I just want to find Mew, and I don't care about any other Pokemon. Oh, wait, maybe I should start caring about Pokemon. I'm sure I can be a good battler without knowing anything. Oh, Ash is actually a insane battler. Oh, wait, Ash is actually a celebrity? Like, that was basically the line that went through, the generation. I kind of hope that they I kind of hope that they make Nimona the main, the main character alongside Ash, and she becomes the champion while tagging along to Ash. You know what I mean? That's what I wish to see.
Well, we'll see what happened in the Generation anime. I don't know when it's going to come out, but probably pretty soon.
No, we have some time.
I'm pretty sure
I think we have some time, because right now they're starting Project Mew in the anime.
Okay, that's fair.
So, yeah.
Yeah, bring this into a close because I think it's about time.
We talked about a lot of things that we liked. And there's just...
Honestly, I think this generation is pretty promising. It's also have this kind of like, took the good ideas from Legend of Arceus. It has multiple stories from what I understood, that just, you don't have to stick to the main one of gym leaders and everything in the Victory Road. And you can do whatever you want to in which order you want to. Which I heard, like, there is kind of like following the legendaries path, kinda following the evil team variation, and then also just the Victory Road kind of thing, which is pretty interesting and pretty unique kind of take of the game. The world is more open-minded because of, they took the experiment in Legend of Arceus, and they kind of really like it. And I think overall this is looking like a promising game.
Okay, so I'm going to give a little bit of final touches before we leave. Both of us, myself and Unfit, are very well aware of the current bugs that are in the game, and the reason why we didn't mention them is because we both think that it's not fair to hold the developers to a standard that's not going to be something that's going to be in the long run. Like, we think that we both think that they're going to fix these bugs and they're going to make the games look polished, and they're just not worth mentioning. So we are aware of them, but we just decide not to mention them. So if you were hoping us to bash them for this kind of stuff, we're both very sorry. That's not going to happen. So if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like, subscribe, check us out on each of our channels. I am Unharm from dragonunharm. You can see my link down below. This is Unfit from Teamndl. He makes amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. You should definitely check him out.
I kind of took a little bit of a break because of things, but I'm hoping I will be able to come back to it pretty soon. I have a lot of things on my plate, which are my own personal life. It doesn't really matter for you all, but just to let you know why I kind of didn't really upload for a while. I'm also here on the Unfit crew, and yeah, that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya, idiot.
See you, moron.
Bye.
Bye.